fall of 1986, two teenage girls in Massachusetts sat on their bedroom floor with a Ouija board, trying to reach their mother, who had died earlier that year. Someone answered, but it wasn't their mother. Pepperell, Massachusetts sits on the New Hampshire line, about 40 miles northwest of Boston. Frank Bowen lived there with his two teenage daughters. Their mother had died earlier that year, and everyone in the house was grieving the loss of their matriarch. One night, the girls sat down with the Ouija board, hoping to reach her. Instead, they heard knocking coming from inside the walls. They were thrilled. They set up a system. One knock for yes, two for no, and asked question after question, talking to whoever or whatever was answering until it was time for bed. The knocking didn't stop that night. It came back the next day at random hours from different parts of the house. They told their father. He'd never heard it himself, and chalked it up to two girls grieving in their own way. As the days went on, the knocking got more frequent. It started sounding like it was coming from directly beneath them, in the basement. One night, the girls worked up the courage to go down and look. They searched the entire basement, but found nothing. As they turned to go back upstairs, they saw it. Written above the stairwell in what looked for a second like blood. "Come find me. I'm in your room." They ran out of the house screaming, straight to the neighbors. The neighbor called their father at work. He came home, found the words on the wall, and realized that red wasn't blood. It was ketchup. He blamed the girls. That night, they got a stern talking to about how far the joke had gone. The weeks that followed only got worse. The tapping kept coming, but it never happened when their father was around. That Friday, their father took them out to dinner. When they got back, something was wrong before anyone said a word. Things were out of place. The television was knocked over, the couch was moved. He had the girls wait outside while he cleared the house room by room. Once it seemed empty, he let them in. They walked into the sunroom and screamed. Written across the wall in ketchup were the words, "Marry me." Before anyone could move, the closet door started to creak open. Standing inside was a man wearing a wedding dress, their dead mother's wedding dress, a clown mask, and holding a hatchet. The girls and their father bolted upstairs and locked themselves in their room. Their father barricaded the door shut with furniture. One of the girls jumped out the second-story window, dropped down to the yard, and ran for the neighbor's house to call police. By the time officers arrived, the house had gone completely silent. They searched it top to bottom and found nothing. No one hiding, no sign of forced entry, just the hatchet left near the sliding glass door. The family couldn't stay there anymore. They checked into a hotel. Police said they'd keep an eye on the house in the meantime. A few days later, their father went back for a change of clothes and toiletries for everyone. There was no patrol car outside, but there was a man inside. He called the police again. They sent over an officer to check it out. What the officer found when he walked in stopped him dead in his tracks. Hundreds of pennies glued one by one across the ceiling. Nearly every cup and glass in the house filled with water and set out in random spots. On the stairs, on the windowsills, on the floor. He called for backup. 2 more officers arrived, and together they searched the house again, room by room, ending in the basement. They found nothing. 2 of the officers stayed behind afterward to talk about the case. One leaned back against the dryer and moved it a few inches across the floor. Behind it, the other officer noticed a hole in the foundation. They pulled the dryer the rest of the way out and shined a flashlight into the gap. A few feet back, in total darkness, was 17-year-old Daniel LaPlante. He was arrested and held in juvenile detention, but shortly after, he was released to await trial. A few weeks later, Daniel LaPlante broke into another family's home and murdered a pregnant woman and her 2 children. He's serving multiple life sentences today in MCI Norfolk, a maximum security prison in Massachusetts. If you enjoyed tonight's story, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps. I post short 90-second stories just about every night and one deeper dive just like this one every week. So if you want more of these, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.